Hello, everyone. Welcome to the School of Bass Treble and Treble Prophets. This is your boy, Dr. Charlie C.J. Jordan, a.k.a. Charles of the Ritz. Hope you guys have had a wonderful weekend. Welcome to this Sunday evening. Hey, guys, I've titled this, What If? Because what we're going to talk about today is all of the things that we have heard from the media and what they have told us down through history, where they said this indeed happened. But a lot of people that were saying, no, this is what truly happened. And those people that said that, they said, no, those and that rhetoric is conspiracy theories. What if? Okay, what if? So before we get into that, guys, I want to do this real quick. I want to promote our meetings here that's going to be coming up this week. We're going to start out on Thursday of this week, man. We're flying into Denver, Colorado, and I'm going to be there with my boy Joseph and Rebecca DeMotte, his beautiful wife, and we're going to be there, and we calling this Remnant in the Rockies. This is number 2. We did it in the, I think we did it toward the end of November last year and the beginning of December in 2023. And so now we're doing it in July again. And you know what's interesting? It was around Christmas time when we did it the first time. Our first night, we're kicking off on July 25th. And, you know, a lot of people said that July 25th, that's what they like to recognize as Christmas in July. I believe what we are about to witness and what we are going to prophesy and what God is going to reveal to us, that truly Christ is truly about to reign in this land. Christ is truly going back into the White House, going into that house called White, going into the chambers of the Capitol, and Jesus will have his say. So I'm prophesying that from Jump Street. So we start on July 25th at Joseph and Rebecca's church, okay? And the lineup, man, is so cool, okay? The lineup is cool. You got Jamie Fitt, you got Denise Pitts, you got yours truly, you got Rebecca and Joseph, and then Jamie Fitt is bringing his brother, man. This brother here is a drummer, and I keep forgetting his name, and so I'm going to go to the next slide because the next slide, I believe, has his name there. Guys, I keep doing this. I suck at promoting. I really do. This is not my forte. This is something that I'm just not good at it. But anyway, okay, so we started Joseph's Limb Church, but on the 26th and the 27th, we're going to go to the Colorado Springs area. And guys, we're going to be there at the Gateway Prayer Garden, okay? And that starts Friday at 6:30 to 10 p.m. on Friday evening. And then Saturday morning until 5 p.m. that afternoon, we're going to be there and we're going to be prophesying. We're going to have a day of worship, but then we're going to have some times of teaching and just equipping people for what God is doing in this season. And then Saturday night, we'll pick it back up with some powerful, powerful worship. And that brother, I can't see his name down there. It's so small. I think his name is, let me put it over here so where I can see it, because I keep forgetting to do that. His name is, what the brother's name? Come on, man. Let me pull it up here. Rich. Okay, I figured I couldn't pronounce his last name. So anyway, Rich is going to be there. I don't want to butcher his last name. Guys, like I said, I'm not too good at this. And then Joseph's parents are going to be there. And so, guys, this is going to be a powerful, powerful time. So I want you guys to join us there, okay? We're going to have a good time, and it will be live stream, okay? It will be live stream. So I wasn't going to play my bass guitar tonight because I wanted to get right into this message. But God said this to me. He said that every time I pick up this instrument and every note that I play, yes, it prays, I prophesy. And so I'm just going to play. God gave me this song, okay, simple little song on July 4th. And I was singing Happy Birthday to America. And God revealed to me that little song, that little proclamation is bigger than what you think, Charlie. It's just not talking about the birthday of America from July 4th back in 1776. But God is saying he is about to birth a move, and it has already begun in this country. This move is going to go from coast to coast, from north to south, east to west, and the world will see it, and then it will spill over and it will go into the nations of the world. How many of you can believe this with me tonight? How many of you can be just as stupid as I am to decree that God is about to move across this land and across the nations of this earth? So we're going to sing it again. We're going to say, Happy birthday, America. Happy birthday, America. Happy birthday, America. Because Jesus reigns in this land. Let me say it again. Happy birthday, America. Happy birthday, America. Happy birthday, America. You see, Jesus reigns in this land. Let me prophesy. What's going on? Come on, man. Let me play it again. Happy birthday, America. Let me say it again. Happy birthday, America. Happy birthday, America. You see, Jesus reigns in this land. Jesus reigns in this land. So you know what, guys? I'm going to keep this bass on my back. I'm going to keep this bass in my hand, and we're going to continue to prophesy. If God wants to speak again through this instrument, I would definitely allow him to. So I've titled this, What If? What if all of the things that people have been accused of, and they have said that, these are conspiracy theories, but what if it's true? What if it's true? Guys, what took place last Saturday in Butler, Pennsylvania, okay? If it wasn't for technology and if it wasn't for the things that we have today, okay, all right, they would have tried to pull off the same thing that they did with JFK back in 1963. See, back then they didn't have, okay, we didn't have the technology. We didn't have the forensics. We didn't have everything that we have now. Knowledge wasn't what it was today back then, okay? So they were able to pull that mess off. So that's the reason why I've titled this, What If? Because I believe a lot of things that people have said are conspiracy theories. I believe a lot of these things are legit. I believe it's legit, everyone. Okay? I truly, truly believe this. Okay? I want to bring this up too. There's so much division. When this man, okay, was attacked, without a doubt, we had a split in this nation. Now, I don't know the dimension of these, of this split or the percentage of this split, but it was split. There were people that were saying, why did he miss? We wish he hadn't have missed. Okay? But then there's a remnant. There's a party, which is huge because God spoke about this party. He said, there's a new party that has emerged, that will emerge. And this new party will stand for righteousness. And this new party will be the catalyst of what God is going to do in this nation. Everyone thought that it was, okay, is it like the Republican Party? Is it like the Democratic Party? No, it is nothing like it. It's MAGA. Make America great again. This is bigger than a man. Okay, this is bigger than a man. This is God. God is the one that has formed this thing. Now, some may throw stones at me, but I don't care. I don't care. Guys, this thing that we're in, there's so much division. Let me tell you something. If Donald Trump, if they would or could have succeeded, okay, last Saturday, how many of you believe that we would be in a civil war right now. All hell would be breaking loose right now. But God stepped in. Why? Because God called this man. Okay? God anointed this man. We have people in the church. I have friends right now that said that I'm stupid. Call me stupid. You can call me stupid all you want to. I don't care. And let me say it like this. I don't give a damn. Because when it comes to the things of God, I follow God. And I could care less what anyone that goes against what God is saying. And some of you may be saying this, but Charlie, I know that God said this to me. Well, let me tell you something. God is not split up into tangents. Okay, I have prophetic words that prove what God is doing in this season. I have prophetic utterances that have not only manifested, but things are beginning to manifest upon the manifestations of the things that he said. So I know without a doubt that God is moving, and God has called this man. God has called this man because what took place last Saturday in Butler, Pennsylvania, it's not short of a miracle. It's not sort of a miracle. It was a definite miracle without a doubt. Okay, so let's ask the question. Why do they hate this man so much? Why do they hate this man so much? Because he stepped into the call of God. He stepped into the plan of God. God called and elected him for this season without a doubt. Before he came down this escalator, this is how everyone felt about this man. Let me just play a few videos here. Okay? Let me just play a few. Okay? This is the Oprah interview. Oprah loved him. But now, have you heard the rhetoric of Oprah? Let's just check this out, everybody. Let's do this.
You took out a full-page ad in major U.S. newspapers last year criticizing U.S. foreign policy. What would you do differently, Donald?
I'd make our allies, forgetting about the enemies you can't talk to so easily, I'd make our allies pay their fair share. We're a debtor nation. Something's going to happen over the next number of years with this country, because you can't keep going on losing $200 billion, and yet we let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade. If you ever go to Japan right now and try to sell something, forget about it, Oprah. Just forget about it. It's almost impossible. They don't have laws against it. They just make it impossible. They come over here, they sell their cars, their VCRs, they knock the hell out of our companies. And, hey, I have tremendous respect for the Japanese people. I mean, you can respect somebody that's beating the hell out of you, but they are beating the hell out of this country. Kuwait, they live like kings. The poorest person in Kuwait.
Okay, let me just pause just for a minute, because we have so many people. We don't like the way he talks. We don't like the way, he's too brass. He's not presidential. He was 30-something years old here. He was talking that way then, and he's talking that way today, even though he's got a different glow on his face after this assassination attempt. And we will possibly get into that. But anyway, he is the same. He wasn't talking anything different then than what he is speaking now. He's brass. He's a New Yorker. Let's continue.
They live like kings, and yet they're not paying. We make it possible for them to sell their oil. Why aren't they paying us 25% of what they're making? It's a joke.
This sounds like political presidential talk to me, and I know people have talked to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you ever?
Probably not, but I do get tired of seeing the country ripped off.
Why would you not?
I just don't think I really have the inclination to do it. I love what I'm doing. I really like it.
Also, it doesn't pay as well.
No, it doesn't. But, I just probably wouldn't do it, Oprah. I probably wouldn't, but I do get tired of seeing what's happening with this country. And if it
he's not doing it because it's not his time yet. It's not his time. See, they loved him. They all loved him. Let's continue.
That's so bad. I would never want to rule it out totally, because I really am tired of seeing what's happening with this country, how we're really making other people live like kings, and we're not.
What do you think of this year's presidential race, the way it's shaping up?
Well, it's going to be very interesting. I think that probably George Bush has an advantage in terms of the election. I think that probably people would say that he's got like that little edge in terms of the incumbency, et cetera, et cetera. But I think Jesse Jackson's done himself very proud. I think Michael Dukakis has done one hell of a job. And George Bush has done a hell of a job,
Jesse Jackson, but he's a racist, right? How many of you guys have seen all the videos before he came down that escalator, okay, in 2015? All of the videos and all of the still photos of him with Jesse Jackson, with Al Sharpton, Muhammad Ali, Michael Jackson, Mike Tyson. The list goes on, and they was smiling, they was loving on him. They loved him, but he's a racist. Come on, people, come on.
They all went in there sort of as semi-underdogs, including George Bush, and they've all come out. I think people that are around all three of those candidates can be very proud of the jobs they've done.
You've said, though, that if you did run for president, you believe you'd win.
Well, I don't know. I think I'd win. I tell you what, I wouldn't go in to lose. I've never gone in to lose in my life. And if I did decide to do it, I think I'd be inclined, I would say that I would have a hell of a chance of winning, because I think people, I don't know how your audience feels, but I think people are tired of seeing the United States ripped off. And I can't promise you everything, but I can tell you one thing, this country would make one hell of a lot of money from those people that for 25 years have taken advantage. It wouldn't be the way it's been, believe me.
Wow. Check it out. Okay? Check it out. He was saying back then the very same thing that he said when he came down that escalator in 2015. And all of a sudden, everybody flipped. You guys know what this man did for the city of New York? This man was a gatekeeper, okay, along with Rudy Giuliani after 9/11. What if 9/11 wasn't Osama bin Laden? What if? We have so much, now in hindsight, you look back at 9/11, and it is without a doubt that it was an inside job. We were bamboozled. By who? By the media. I still have people now that, even in my family, they religiously listen to the mainstream media. They get their news, they get their opinions, they form their opinions by what they say. And it was, look, what just happened, let me share this with you. I'm kind of going off cuff here, but let me share this with you guys. Those of you that watch CNN, those of you that religiously watch CNN, and you are Christians. I'm not going to say you call yourself a Christian, because if you have called on the name of Christ and you confess with your mouth and you believe in your heart, the Bible is sure you are a believer in Christ. But do you really walk with the precepts of Christ? Because Christ has nothing to do with unrighteousness. He will not come in covenant with anything that is an abomination, that is unrighteous. So I want to share this with you guys. I've been trying to authenticate this, but it appears that this is exactly correct. I'm going to share this with you. All right. Let me get rid of that real quick. Hello, Denise. Love you. But I got to do this right here. Guys, I want you to see something here. All right. I want you to see this. All right. Okay. Let me see if I can make this a little, I don't know if I can make that bigger. I don't know. I don't think so, but let me just read it. I'm going to pull it over here. This is from Brad Burton. You know that he has that show, the little show, whatever it is, but he's got a huge following. But I followed up on this, guys. What if this is true? Because I've tried to search it out, and so far, what he is saying right here is indeed true. You want to take a guess as to how many Trump rallies CNN has televised live this year? How many? One. Want to take a guess which one it was? Yeah, Butler, PA. Not only that, but a cameraman that just so happened to be using what I've come to understand to be extremely fast by industry standards, a shutter speed of 1/8,000th of a second. They were ready, my friend, to capture every gory detail of Trump's exploding skull, which is how they captured the actual bullet whizzing by his head. But then he puts in there, but God. Not today, Satan. Not today. I read some of the comments, and a lot of the comments were positive. But like I said, we have people, okay, today. We have people today that are saying, nah, it was staged. Now he staged it so he can try to get a foothold on the election. But someone died. This guy named Cody, I think his name, an Italian guy. I can't pronounce his last name. He died. They had his funeral. And people say, no, we don't think anyone died. We think all of this is staged. Okay? I want you guys to remember the Esther prophecy. In that Esther prophecy from 2011, God says that Esther will arise and she will have the oil of gladness to pour upon all of us that have been hurt, all of the hurt, the anger, and all of this that is going on, what we are witnessing right now. She will have the oil of gladness. So I'm trying to keep this short. This is 21 minutes into it so far. Okay, and guys, share this. But I've tried to authenticate this. So I want you guys to research. Was this indeed the first live broadcast of a Donald Trump rally by CNN? Because if it is, don't you think it's strange? What if all of this that people are saying is indeed true? Let's talk about the CIA and the FBI. Let's talk about them. Because, see, there is without a doubt that there was a major breakdown of the security for President Trump. A major breakdown. Guys, I'm just going to go out on a limb, and I might get in trouble with these social media outlets, but I'm going to say it was funky, and I'm going to say that they knew about this. This was not a random. And then I'm listening to even Fox. I'm talking about all of these outlets. Now, I don't listen to Newsmax, but all of these outlets, the rhetoric that they were saying, especially on Fox, was because of the rhetoric of the other mainstream outlets. They keep saying that he's a Nazi, he's this, he's that. So it caused this young man to flip and go crazy to try to kill him. That's BS. And I almost said what BS really is. I'm trying to keep my tongue pure because, see, guys, it's time for us to call a spade a spade. It's time for us to call these people out. It's time for us to stand up for what's right, and that is righteousness. It's time for us to do it, okay? It's no longer the time has ended for us to be playing church and to be saying, well, the church shouldn't get involved in politics. That's crap. That's crap. Elijah was called to Ahab and Jezebel. He was called to take them out. He wasn't called to separate himself from it. He wasn't called. Esther was called to go in to Xerxes' throne out of her time. She wasn't supposed to go. But God said, go now, because now I have anointed you. What if she would have had the same rhetoric and the same crap in their head saying that we shouldn't get involved with politics. We shouldn't be involved with kings and prime ministers and people in politics. That's crap. It's crap, everybody. God is separating, okay, the sheep from the goat. God is separating the sheep from the goat. Come on, Sally. He's separating the sheep from the goats. Guys, so let's talk about this FBI agent that was there. And I want you guys to pay attention, okay? I want you guys to pay attention. If I still have this up here, let me see if I got it here. No, I don't have that up. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go and I'm going to pull this up because this is important. Because it's kind of strange that she was there and the way she acted and what she did has gone crazy viral. Okay? Crazy viral. Okay? So I'm gonna catch this up here, and I'm not gonna play the video itself as soon as I can get it together here, because this thing is acting kind of crazy. But I want you guys to see something here. I want you guys to notice something here, because you see, it's been found out that this lady is indeed, she works for the FBI. Breaking, the woman in the picture behind Trump has been identified as whatever her name is, the assistant director at the FBI. Now it makes sense why she didn't flinch or duck when shots were fired. Instead, she got her phone out and started recording President Trump. Now that's very interesting that she did that, right? That's very interesting that she did that. So I'm going to play the video where everyone is showing where she did this. Okay? And this is very interesting because what if they knew about it? What if they were in on it? What if? Check it out.
If you want to really see something that said,
there she is.
Look what happened.
She's not flinching. And then she started recording.
Hey, sorry, brother. I just want to
Okay.
your number one.
So, guys, this is not a coincidence. Now, I'm telling you right now, I believe that everything that we are witnessing, okay, everything that we have witnessed, that these people were in on it. I might get shut down here on YouTube and Facebook, but I won't be shut down on Rumble. And if I am shut down on these outlets, I will go to everyone. As a matter of fact, my email, do you guys see my, if you like the messages that I bring and you watch me, I don't have a lot of people watching my broadcast. I really don't. But you know what I want you to do? I want you to email me at that email, btlministry777@gmail.com. And then what I'm going to do, I haven't done this yet, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to put all of you that email me, that follow my ministry, I'm going to put you in a folder. And every time I go live, I'm going to send an email blast out to let you know when I'm going live. And I'm going to really, truly be jumping ship, going over to Rumble, because I'm tired of these socialist, communist platforms trying to control, okay, trying to take away our freedom of speech. You know, it's strange that Rumble being out of Canada, they don't do that. That's strange, don't you think? So anyway, send me an email with your email contact info so that I can send you blasts whenever I get ready to go live. I will email you, and then I will exclusively, very soon, be shooting to Rumble because I'm tired of this. But guys, what if they were in on it? Okay? Do you guys remember General Patton? Okay? Let's look at all of these so-called things that people have said. It's conspiracy theories. Okay, if you know anything about General Patton, he was a great general during World War II. Okay, and he kicked butt. And he didn't play games. He spoke from his heart. Okay, and he spoke what he believed. He was sort of like a 1945 Donald Trump. Okay, because he didn't play games. He got in the face of the deep state. He got in the face of the political people. Okay, and he told them what he thought. All right, and so after the war, okay, you see, the United States entered the war in 1941, I believe. Okay, it was 41 when we entered the war because of what happened at Pearl Harbor. That's another thing which is very strange, but we're not going to talk about that. Okay, but once we got into the war, Russia was getting their butts kicked by Hitler and the Nazis. As a matter of fact, everybody was getting their butts kicked by Hitler and the Nazis. Okay, there was one strong leader, okay, at that time in Europe. His name was Winston Churchill. Okay, he was strong. He was able to put up a good fight, but the Russians was getting their ass kicked. And so when the U.S. got in, U.S. and Russia was part of the Allied nations. And the U.S. helped Russia defeat the Nazis, okay? But General Patton said, I don't trust the Russians. You shouldn't trust. They will stab you in the back. And a lot of people in politics, in the deep state, and believe me, the deep state was around back then. Deep state goes back a long time, people. Goes back a long ways. They were there. And they were playing the political games that they were playing today. They was playing it then. It's all about greed. It's all about power. It's all about money. See, when Jesus said that the root of all evil is the love of money, it's not money, but it's the love of it. It's the root of not just some evil, but all evil. You see, so Patton went against the grain. They didn't like it. Patton one day was coming from pheasant hunting, and he was in his car. His original intended driver all of a sudden came down sick, and he couldn't drive Patton. So they got a new driver, okay? And then his chief of staff was there. The story goes that he was going about 35 miles an hour. 35 miles an hour, and an army truck pulled out in front of them, and they slammed into the army truck. There was only one person that got injured. It was General Patton, and he got injured pretty bad. Broken neck, spinal cord injury, paralyzed. Now, the only three people at the scene of the accident when it happened was the driver of the truck that pulled out in front of them, and then the driver of Patton, George Patton himself, and that chief of staff. No one else was hurt. So that's the story that they fed the American people, okay? All right. Now, we fast forward. That happened on December 9th, okay, of 1945. Let's go up to December 21st when he died, okay? His wife was reading a story to him. He became tired, and he told her to go and to go get something to eat. I'm going to rest, and then you can come back and finish the story. She left. I don't know how long she was gone, but all of a sudden she gets a call from the nurse because they realized Patton wasn't breathing anymore. He wasn't breathing. All of this revelation came out years later because we see what was fed to the American public and to the world is that he died of a heart failure, of a, what do they call it? I always mispronounce it, but a pulmonary embolism. The very same thing that I had. In other words, a blood clot. Okay? All right. So they said that is what's happening. That is what happened. So, but years later, this guy presented this truth, and they said it was wrong. This is what he said. So how did Patton die? Well, okay, Beatrice's dinner was interrupted when the nurse suddenly noticed that Patton had stopped breathing. When she returned, her husband had already died. The official cause of death was pulmonary edema and congestive heart failure. Was he assassinated? Yes, because this gentleman said a refined form of cyanide that could cause embolisms, heart failure, and things like that had been used to kill him later in the hospital. It had been made in Czechoslovakia, and in small amounts. And in these small amounts, it could be timed to kill over a period of 18 to 48 hours. What if this is indeed true? I believe that it is. Now, I spoke about JFK. We're in the 34 minutes. I'm going to try to end this. I spoke about JFK. Everybody remembers that terrible day, November 22nd, 1963, in Dallas. All right? JFK was assassinated. All right? What I love about God, whenever an unrighteous act happens, God is always, he has someone there or something that he present his light of truth. Just like with General Patton, this light of truth was presented. And it caused people to say, wow, what if? What if? Okay, what if? JFK, his murder, his assassination was captured on film by a guy by the name of Zapruder. And I always mispronounce his name. Zapruder, I think is how you pronounce it. They didn't anticipate that. They didn't anticipate that. But it became known, and they shielded it from the people. Do you guys remember that movie by Oliver Stone? It was simply called JFK. all right? And there was a district attorney in New Orleans, and I can't think of his name right now. It just popped into my spirit. I don't have this in my notes, okay? No one had seen that Zapruder film. God, why can I? Zapruder film, okay? No one has seen that film, so I'm going to quit trying to say his name. I'm just going to say the Z film. No one has seen the Z film yet, all right? So it was presented in that trial. But then it was in 1975 that it was presented on the Geraldo Rivera show. He had a show that that he had, okay? And people were shocked. Now, what the media had told us, and I said to everybody, that Lee Harvey Oswald, the lone gunman, was the only one that shot Kennedy. But everyone knows that the kill shot came, okay, from the front. It hit him here. By the time the kill shot came, he had already passed the point where Lee Harvey Oswald was supposedly firing and shooting at the president. So guys, let me play this, because Sharon sent this video to me. All right? Sharon sent this video to me, and let me go here. Let me see if I can pull this up. It's kind of long, and I want you to listen to what this lady is saying here, okay? I want you guys to listen to what she is saying. Joseph has it up on his site as well, okay? I want you guys to listen to this. Listen to what she's saying here.
But then he slowed it way down. And it was so slow that you could almost see the air moving. Then you saw the driver take a gun and go like this and shoot Kennedy. And the bullet comes out of the gun this slow, very, very, very slow. And it hits Kennedy in the head. And you see everything flying out of his head. I'm thinking, this isn't the tape I ever saw before. So I said, is this a doctored tape? What's this about? And he said, this is the original one. And I said, no, you know. And he says, well, I'm going to show you the one that you've seen on the media. Now the next tape is your typical one where the driver just keeps driving, never even flinches with the gun. And he stops the tape. And he says, look at the tree. And there's the top of a tree growing in air. And he says, this is the one that you're seeing on the media. And it's been doctored. He looked very, very intently at me and he said, nothing is as it appears to be.
Did you hear that? Nothing is as it appears to be. Don't you find that interesting? So you know what I went and did? I went and I found the Z film. And I want to play this for you. And we're going to stop it at different points. Because, see, in the movie by Oliver Stone, everyone knows that the kill shot came from the front. So they said it came from the grassy knoll. Okay? The kill shot, without a doubt, came from the front. Because when a bullet enters someone, it enters with a small hole. But when it exits, it leaves a gaping hole where it exits. If you look at the autopsy photos of JFK at the hospital, he's got a big hole in the back of his head. A big hole. Guys, what if all of this is indeed not a conspiracy theory? Let's look at this real quick. All right, so I'm going to start this at the beginning. I'm going to spread this out a little bit. All right, and here we go. That's the motorcade. That's Kennedy. I'm going to play it in regular speed first. Boom. That's the kill shot, right? That's the kill shot. Oswald is back here in the back, okay? In the supposedly in the book suppository building. That shot, the kill shot, came from You saw it, right? But I want you to pay attention. Do you remember what that lady just said? That lady said the driver turned around and fired. Look at this. Look at the driver. He's going to turn. Okay? It stops a little bit too slow, but I'm going to try to stop it right at the right spot. Look at this. Look at the driver. Look at that. That's the driver turning, looking at the president. What is that in his hand? What is that in his hand? Let's go back again. I'm going to try to stop it right before. It happens so quick, everybody. It happens so quick. What if, just like the caption on that video that I just played you, what if we were lied to? What if? Now I'm going to play you this video. Oh, and let me say this, okay? In 1968, Martin Luther King was murdered, was assassinated. Malcolm X was taken out. A lot of people said, some funny business that's happening there. Okay? But let's talk about Martin Luther King. His assassin, of course, was James Earl Ray. He actually escaped, went into Europe. He was able to be there for I don't know how long, but then they brought him back. And this is what is said about him. When he came back to Memphis, Ray pleaded guilty, forfeiting a trial, and was sentenced to 99 years in prison. But months later, he recanted his confession without effort or without effect. In other words, he said, I want to tell the truth here, okay? In renouncing his guilt, James Earl Ray, raised the question of a conspiracy behind King's murder, but offered scant evidence to support his claim, okay? But later in life, his pleas for a trial was encouraged by some civil rights leaders, notably the King family. They began to say, well, wait a minute, this man, he has something that he wants to say. He has something that he wants to say. Let's hear what this man has to say. But they wouldn't allow it. What if James Earl Ray knew that there was a bigger source behind the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King? A lot of people in the black community, they think that the Democrats is for them. People don't know this, and I'm going to say something. So I'm going to pre-warn some people now because I'm finna drop something, and I have to say it the way it really was said. So you better mute your sound. Better mute your sound. You see, JFK, okay, was the person that really pushed for civil rights. He pushed for civil rights. Though he was a Democrat, he pushed for civil rights. A lot of people don't know that the Democratic Party was the party of Jim Crow. Democratic Party was the party of slavery. Just research it. Go to the library and get some old encyclopedias and read about the different Democratic senators and House of Representatives that came against everything that had anything to do with civil rights. Just read about it because it's hard to find it on the internet now. And you know why, okay? But John F. Kennedy, okay, he was a proponent for civil rights, but he was against the Vietnam War and against everything that they wanted to do to Cuba, okay? All right, so we know all of that, right? Well, maybe most of you don't know this. All right, now this is not in my notes. This is just I'm going off the top of my head now. All right. So when JFK was murdered and Lyndon B. Johnson became the president of the United States, he said something, so I want you guys to mute this. Okay, it's hard to find. Okay, but it's out there because it was recorded. And he said, okay, I'll do all this. I'll give you your Vietnam War, and I will give you your civil rights. And let me tell you something. When we do this, we'll have these niggers voting for us for the next 240 years. That came out of the mouth of Johnson, President Johnson. It's documented, but it's hard to find now. It's hard to find. So, people, what if all of this that the media has been pushing and lying to us about, what if the conspiracy theories and the conspiracy theorists, what they're saying is correct? All right? Now let's talk about JFK again, but we're going to talk about it from the angle of Richard Nixon. Okay? Do you guys remember Watergate? Tricky Dick, everybody just, I don't know what to say about this Facebook stuff, or whatever this is. I think this from this operating system with Apple. But anyway, Richard Nixon was demonized. He's about Watergate. He's a terrible president. You look at Hollywood. You listen to Hollywood and the entertainment industry from back in that day. They demonized this man. But here's what really happened. And the reason why I believe this is because of the man that did the research. Because Tucker Carlson, he does his research. Guys, I want you to check this out. Listen to this.
One thing you should know is that the most popular president in American history was Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon. Yet somehow, without a single vote being cast by a single American voter, Richard Nixon was kicked out of office and replaced by the only unelected president in American history. So we went from the most popular president to a president nobody voted for. Wait a minute, you may ask. Why didn't I know that? Wasn't Richard Nixon a criminal? Wasn't he despised by all decent people? No, he wasn't. In fact, if any president could claim to be the people's choice, it was Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon was reelected in 1972 by the largest margin of the popular vote ever recorded before or since. Nixon got 17 million more votes than his opponent. Less than 2 years later, he was gone. He was forced to resign. And in his place, an obedient servant of the federal agencies called Gerald Ford took over the White House. How did that happen? Well, it's a long story, but here are the highlights, and they tell you a lot. Richard Nixon believed that elements in the federal bureaucracy were working to undermine the American system of government, and had been doing that for a long time. He often said that. He was absolutely right. On June 23, 1972, Nixon met with the then CIA Director Richard Helms at the White House. During the conversation, which thankfully was tape recorded, Nixon suggested he knew, quote, who shot John, meaning President John F. Kennedy. Nixon further implied that the CIA was directly involved in Kennedy's assassination, which we now know it was. Helms' telling response? Total silence. But for Nixon, it didn't matter because it was already over. 4 days before, on June 19th, the Washington Post had published the first of many stories about a break-in at the Watergate office building. Unbeknownst to Nixon and unreported by the Washington Post, 4 of the 5 burglars worked for the CIA. The first of many dishonest Watergate stories was written by a 29-year-old Metro reporter called Bob Woodward. Who exactly was Bob Woodward? Well, he wasn't a journalist. Bob Woodward had no background whatsoever in the news business.
Bob Woodward. Remember that movie, All the President's Men? Let's continue.
Instead, Bob Woodward came directly from the classified areas of the federal government. Shortly before Watergate, Woodward was a naval officer at the Pentagon. He had a top-secret clearance. He worked regularly with the intel agencies. At times, Woodward was even detailed to the Nixon White House, where he interacted with Richard Nixon's top aides. Soon after leaving the Navy, for reasons that have never been clear, Woodward was hired by the most powerful news outlet in Washington and assigned the biggest story in the country. And just to make it crystal clear what was actually happening, Woodward's main source for his Watergate series was the deputy director of the FBI, Mark Felt. And Mark Felt ran, and we're not making this up, the FBI's COINTELPRO program, which was designed to secretly discredit political actors the federal agencies wanted to destroy. people like Richard Nixon.
Wow.
And at the same time, those same agencies were also working to take down Nixon's elected vice president, Spiro Agnew. In the fall of 1973, Agnew was indicted for tax evasion and forced to resign. His replacement was a colorless congressman from Grand Rapids called Gerald Ford. What was Ford's qualification for the job? Well, he had served on the Warren Commission, which absolved the CIA of responsibility for President Kennedy's murder. Nixon was strong-armed into accepting Gerald Ford by Democrats in Congress. Quote, "We gave Nixon no choice but Ford," Speaker of the House Carl Albert later boasted. 8 months later, Gerald Ford of the Warren Commission was the President of the United States. See how that works?
I've had some time to process the assassination.
All right, so it went straight to that video. I was writing this down because I didn't want to forget what I want to say. Okay, as you can see, what took place with President Nixon, doesn't it mirror what they tried to do? Hold on. Oh, man, this fan. Let me get this, man. Sorry about that. This fan sometimes just want to come on by itself because it gets kind of warm in here, and so it's got a sensor on it. So I always have it on low. But don't you find it very interesting that what they did to Nixon, they tried to do the same thing to Trump with the Russia collusion. They tried very, very badly, but they tried very hard to stamp that on Donald Trump. But it didn't work because, see, information can be gathered so quickly now. Back then, not as quickly. So, guys, what if what Tucker Carlson just said is indeed true? I believe that it is. I believe that it is exactly true. Okay? All right. 9/11, real quick. I'm going to go over that just real quick, and then I'm going to end with this video of just how God stepped in and protected our president, Donald J. Trump. 9/11. I've been to the World Trade Center when they were there. I stood right up under those buildings and looked at, at that building, or, those Twin Towers, okay? It was made out of steel. Steel. That structure, guys, the way it came down is very strange. Now, the media fed us this lie that it was Osama bin Laden and terrorists. When Prophet Kim got that word the first time, this is what he said as they flew over Long Island and attacked. And then he said terrorists. He didn't say Middle Eastern terrorists or terrorists from the Middle East. God didn't say that. He said terrorists. How many know that a terrorist doesn't equate to just Middle Eastern people? You have terrorists everywhere, even in this country, that are American. You can be black, white, Hispanic. If you're a terrorist, you're a terrorist. Okay? But when they attack, this is what God said. America would retaliate, but this would not be of my spirit. That always was a question mark with Prophet Kim and I. Scratch our head. Why wouldn't we want to retaliate? But God says, this would not be of my spirit. Now, 9/11, now in hindsight, everyone, now you see it, you got to ask questions. How could two jets really bring down those two towers? All kinds of videos now are showing that this was an inside job. And let me tell you, what led me to say, yes, this is an inside job, was when Building 7 collapsed. And when you see the video of it collapsing, it looks like a demolition. It came down too perfectly. So I'm just going to leave that there. What if that the conspiracy theorists, what they are saying is indeed correct? Because you know what? What came out of that? The Patriot Act. Okay? George Bush, President Bush, came up with this Patriot Act, which is very, very unconstitutional. Very unconstitutional. And everybody was behind it. But my son, I never will forget my son Gerald. He said, Dad, this is terrible. And I said, no, man, because see, we need to come at these terrorists, man. They come in and say, no, Dad, you need to read the language. They could do this to you. They could do this to me. If they deem you a terrorist, they could strip you of every right that you have in the nation that you were born in. That this nation and the Constitution protects you against a tyrannical government. All that they want to do to you, if they can deem you a terrorist, they could strip your rights from you. Hence, J6. Hence, January 6th, everybody. So ask the question, what if this was indeed an inside job to destroy America? Guys, I'm going to say it boldly, I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to end with this. I'm at 56 minutes. Okay? I believe that this truly was a setup by the deep state to take this man out, and God stepped in, and God protected this man. I have prophetic words. You've heard me quote these prophetic words. Just go to houseofdestiny.org/prophecy and just type in the word assassination. You're going to hear and see very powerful words about an assassination attempt that is without a doubt points to today, to what just happened. But guys, look at this.
Take a look what happened. Take a look what happened.
That was God, everybody. That was God. So, all of my black brothers and friends, colleagues that still hate this man, but you are Christian, and even if you're not, the one thing that you cannot deny, and you can if you want to, but let me just tell you this, the truth always wins, and it always outshines darkness and BS. God stepped in and protected this man on that day. God has said in a prophetic word from April 5th that an assassination would be attempted, but because of the prayers of my warriors, you will prevent an assassination from taking place. On Wednesday, before Saturday, I called a good friend of mine. She's part of my board for my ministry. And I called and asked her for prayer. And she said to me, she said, Charlie, I was awakened early this morning and I couldn't go back to sleep. And this has been on my heart all day, so I've been praying. I kept hearing assassination. I kept hearing assassination. When that word came back in April of 2005, we were in the Pacific Northwest in Portland, Oregon. She lives in Washington State. And he said in that meeting that night, my warriors who are here in this meeting, because of your prayers, you will stop an assassination. She was in that meeting that night. And on Wednesday, before the attempt on Saturday, she began to pray against assassination. So don't tell me God is not on the scene. Don't try to tell me, Charlie, you don't know what you're talking about. Don't come at me saying that it was staged. Don't come at me and say, oh, man, you're stupid. I saw people posting on Facebook and different things when he was speaking at the INC. People were saying different things, ugly things. And I was like, wow, one thing, you don't have to like the man. But the people that were saying some of the things that they were saying, they said that they're Christians. You don't have to like this man, but you have to know that God stepped in and did something miraculous. He stopped something that the devil was planning and has planned to do to bring this country to its knees. And if you are an American and if you love where you are, you should praise God for what God did on that day. Forget about the man. Forget about the rhetoric about the man. But let's turn to God, everybody. Let's turn to He who has truly set free all of us. That's Jesus. Turn to him and turn from your wicked ways. 2 Chronicles 7:14 says it so beautifully. If my people who are called by my name would humble themselves and pray and turn from their wicked ways, turn from the influences that the Babylonian system heaps upon you, the mainstream media, the prophets of Baal, the prognosticators of evil, turn from all of that and turn to him and pray. He will indeed come and heal, save, and deliver. You don't have to like an individual, but you have to love them. God's mandate is not for you to like, but it is to love. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. And the second one is the same. Love your neighbor the same. We are to love one another. You don't have to like them. Just like I love my wife. I love her. I love her, but I just love her, right? But she likes onions. I don't like the fact that she likes onions because she can bite into an onion and say, hello, honey, come give me a kiss. I hate the smell and I hate the taste of onions. So I don't like that, but I love her. And my love overshadows my dislike of her likeness of onions. And so, since she knows how I feel about onions, she doesn't bite into an onion and come up to me and say, honey, give me a kiss, because her love for me overshadows the fact that if she did that, she know that it would repel me. So she loves me to keep me from being repelled from that she likes. We have to walk in love, everybody. So I'm over an hour right now. So I want you guys to share this. I want you to share it. Know that we are somewhere in the future and we look so much better than all this garbage that is going on. And before I turn this off, I want you guys to go to, I'm not going to play this video, but I want you to see this. And more importantly, I want you to see Sky News. Go to them. Check out what they said. That's an international news agency. They haven't been bought off by the deep state. They tell the truth. This video is amazing, but I'm out of time. But anyway, hey, I love you guys. I want you guys to share this. And like I said, on Wednesday, we'll be flying to Denver, Colorado, and we're going to be there with Joseph and Rebecca DeMotte, and we're going to be prophesying. And you know what? It just so happens that our first meeting is on July 25th, and God dropped that in my spirit at the beginning of this broadcast. And I believe that we are, I think that we are in the strange July, and in the fall many shall fall, and Christmas or winter, and me, I shall make them happy. I don't know about you guys, but I know God is moving. So, hey, this is the Ritz. And know this, that when Jesus is in effect, Jesus is truly by our side. We put that devil in check. See you next time. Peace.
Put your hands up.